What's up everybody, and thank you for checking in today in my video. Today I'm going to talk about where is the Ethereum price going. I'm going to give you targets and I'm going to explain to you why I think these are proper targets. So in February of this year, I basically used the Bitcoin bubbles as a way to predict that I thought in 2007 the price would go from 2,000 to 10,000. This video has been very popular. I've had over 300,000 views, and I basically explained that I think Bitcoin runs in bubbles. And I basically used this bubble here to predict that we would have a big explosion in 2017. And I was completely wrong, because now it's the end of 2017. We're not at 10K, we're very close to 20K, and I think we're going to go higher. I'm gonna have to follow up on that part in a different video. I also created a video that says Bitcoin has bubbles and Ethereum has steps. So today, I also want to look at the chart of Ethereum and kind of use this sort of price patterns of Ethereum to come up with a target of Ethereum right now. So now let's look back a little bit at the Ethereum price. We see here the price at Coinbase. So let's take a look at the Ethereum price. We see here the price of Coinbase. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And what has happened is that Ethereum was in this triangle between 400 and then kind of this mid to short term uptrend. And I actually bought a little bit of Ethereum here at 278. This must have been actually here somewhere. And because I assumed that Ethereum was going to break out of this triangle, which it has done here on the November 24th. So November 24th, 23, Ethereum broke out and reached above 400. And so now it is exploding beyond 400. And if we take a look at the previous price action of Ethereum, these steps that I talk about in this video, are very kind of how the Ethereum price works. It runs up and then it finds kind of a price around which it just stays for a while, maybe creates a channel or a triangle, and then it breaks out again. And so we've had a couple of these steps, and what I believe is that there's now a new one of these happening as we speak. So currently we're breaking out, Ethereum is exploding to a new sort of price level. The question now is, what is that price level going to be? And so if we take a look at the Bitstamp price, I like to use, in this case, if we take a look at the price on Kraken, I like to use the price on Kraken because Kraken is one of these exchanges that I don't trade as much anymore because the exchange doesn't work really well. I really love GDAX in terms of buying and selling because to me it's been kind of the best exchange. So I always look at kind of the Coinbase price. But when it comes to the history, Kraken has been the exchange that has supported Ethereum from the beginning of its existence. So I like to use the Kraken price to look at it from a long-term perspective. Now, what we see very clearly here is that we've had these three steps. So first of all, Ethereum came out and then it consolidated around about $1, in my opinion, right? So it came out at $4, crashed down, went up to $2, and then hovered around $1. I noticed because back then I was like developing with Ethereum and like I bought some, every once in a, and I paid always about kind of $1 for an Ethereum. And then it shot up when the first version that was not a beta version of Ethereum came out. It shot up to this kind of $10 price level. It basically went up all the way to 15, then came down to 6-ish, and kind of hovered around, created this channel of about, $10, around $10. And then this year, the whole ICO craze happened, and Ethereum for the first time was being used for something real. All these projects, all these ICOs were based on Ethereum, and we have all this ERC20 tokens and all that stuff. That created this amazing demand that we had today, where the price went from this $10 level all the way to 400 and then maybe around 300-ish. So I think for most of the year, average Ethereum must have been worth around $300. I think that was kind of a fair price for it for most of the year. Now, what is happening right now is that Ethereum again is releasing a new version. We are going to maybe get proof of stake, and that is going to change the game. So Ethereum is evolving yet again. Proof of stake is going to change the utility of Ethereum. Transactions are going to be much faster and much cheaper. That is good for the utility. And it's also going to remove supply, because if you use proof of stake, a lot of coins have to be locked up for the security aspect. And so that is going to remove supply, increase utility. So that again is going to push the price up a lot. So the question now is, of course, everybody that has Ethereum right now can just be happy. Oh my God, this pump, blah, blah, blah. But I really want to look at, okay, so what would maybe be the next price level? Because what I frankly expect in terms of what the price is going to do is that maybe after the next run, this is kind of like, if you think about a wave, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves right now. So we're in wave number 5. If we think about kind of Elliott waves. So what I really kind of am expecting, that we have an amazing run right now and then somewhat of a crash. So I'm also thinking about, is there maybe a price level where I expect Ethereum to go to and then, take some profit or protect my value a little bit. And so there's 2 ways I want to go about coming up, or actually 3 ways coming up with a value. Number 1, we can look at time. So one of the things we see here is I've drawn in these arrows. This is about how much every pump was going, or how much every kind of high every step has been going. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting in the last 2 steps, like the big steps, is that they have been of kind of similar size. So we're looking here at a logarithmic chart, and in the logarithmic chart, this arrow and this arrow is fairly similar in size and in length. So one of the first thing that we could look at is, well, what if we take an arrow like this and put it up here? Where do we land? And the answer is, this arrow is a little bit smaller than this guy. So it's more closer to that one, because this is a smaller arrow and I want to be conservative. And the point is, this gets us at about 5,000. So I've created a little target here because this is kind of at that tip. The problem that I have with this target, other than this target looking really insanely big, just the number 5,000 for an Ethereum, when at the end, in the beginning of the year, I remember buying Ethereum for $8, is just a little bit sick. But I think one of the important things when we look at these charts is that we humans, we are incapable of thinking logarithmic, because logarithmic growth doesn't happen. Exponential growth doesn't happen very much, and so we're just not trained to it, and we always just think about things in linear terms. But really, you have to look at this growth here as an exponential growth. And so here we really have to put things into perspective and into relation. And so this is why it's very important to look at these charts in a long term and in a logarithmic scale. So from that perspective, we get to 5,000 here. Now, my problem is that we have this very nice kind of long-term trend channel in this log chart where we kind of probably shouldn't break out of this or something like that. So if we go right now in one pump, a relative quickly up, we would break through that to go to 5,000. So maybe we're not going to go with as high. Maybe we are going to only go to this trend. So if that were to happen, where could we land? Now we need a number that's a lot lower. So how can we come up with another target that makes sense? And for this, what I want to use is the Mayer multiple. The Mayer multiple is basically a ratio that looks at the moving average, the 200-day moving average. And the 200-day moving average here is this thick blue line. So this guy. And it measures how much the price is away from this moving average. And what we see in the past, in both of these runs, Ethereum went to about 6, 7-ish of this. So one of the things we can look at right now, the 200 moving average is like 320. If we look at this, it's about 300. So, and if we get about a 6-ish Mayer multiple in this run, 6 times 3 is about 1,800. So one of the targets that makes a lot of sense is kind of 1,800. So this is why 1,800 would be kind of my first target that we could take. And with 1,800, we could also run just against this trend over kind of the next 1-2 months. And we could kind of hit this and then bounce off of this. So this 1,800 makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of people have put like $1,000 value on Ethereum, but again, people are just saying, oh, wow, I'm guessing the price is going to double. That to me doesn't make quite as much sense. I think the price is going to shoot up a lot more than double because again, if we have looked at these breakouts before, the prices shot up always a lot more. So 1,800, that would make sense to me. And maybe what also happens is that the price goes up and then kind of does a retrace wave and then shoots up. And maybe we are still hitting the 5,000 and breaking through this channel. So we don't know, but these to me are possibilities. The other thing that we can look at is time. So this is the third thing. Number one is just kind of drawing this arrow. How far did we move on the chart and just assuming we're going to something similar now. The next thing we could do is using the Mayer multiple. Just hoping that or thinking that we were going to hit something between 5 and 7 again. That gives us around kind of this 2,000. And the next thing we can do is look at timing. And so if we think about how long did these breakouts take, so you can see here when we broke above the kind of $15 line. And again, this is an outlier because this is where the DAO hack happened. So to me, this is a little bit of an outlier. So then we see 1, 2, 3 of these columns, three-ish columns. And then when we go here and say 1, 2, 3, we would basically then here hit our target. And then if we use the trend, we also get to about 2,000. So a possible target could be like 1,800, could be 2,000, or could be 5,000. Which one of these indicators you may use is kind of up to you. I'm going to simply watch the charts and then see if my views adjust. So right now, those are potential targets that I'm looking for. And as the price progresses, as we're getting into actually ridiculous prices when it comes to the charts and not just the numbers and the things we see on TV, I'm going to adjust my perspective and then try to make good decisions. So I hope this was useful to you in this particular video, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will see you in more videos that I will do to you. And thank you for your attention.